From 2002 to 2004, Eric Gagne had one of the greatest stretches for any pitcher in MLB history. Making his mark as a relief pitcher, he not only became the most recent reliever to win the Cy Young, but he set a seemingly unbreakable record along the way. So let's look back at the record and Gagne's career.
Totally sports-esque. Major League.
Eric Gagne grew up near Montreal, and like many, he played hockey and baseball and was a fan of the Canadiens and Expos. He attended the same high school that his future short-term teammate Russell Martin would, and he became a top pitcher in high school, eventually becoming an ace for Canada's Junior World Championship teams, and in 1994, he was drafted in the 30th round by the Chicago White Sox, but he opted to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers as an amateur free agent the next year. He pitched 1 year at Seminole Junior College in Oklahoma, knowing very little English at the time. One of the ways he actually learned was by watching TV, especially the show Kenan and Kel, and after 1 year pitching as an ace in junior college, he started in '96 in the minor leagues pitching for Savannah. He began as a starter, and in his first year in the minors, he pitched 115 innings with a 3.28 ERA and a 10.2 K per 9. But the following year, he had his first setback when he missed the entire year due to Tommy John. He did return in '98 and pitched with the Vero Beach Dodgers, putting up similar numbers in '96 with 4 more starts. And the following year, he began in AA for the San Antonio Missions, starting 26 games, throwing 167.2 innings with a 2.63 ERA and a 9.9 K per 9. As a result, at the end of 1999, he was a September call-up for the Dodgers. He made his Major League debut on September 7th, pitching 6 innings, striking out 8, giving up 2 hits, with 0 runs allowed. The Dodgers would, however, end up losing this game to deny Gagne his first career win. He would go on to make 4 starts the rest of the year, pitching 30 innings total, with 30 strikeouts and a 2.10 ERA, losing 1 game, and also winning 1 game. And his strong numbers put him on the Dodgers roster to start 2000. But he would struggle to start the year. In his first 15 starts, he had a 5.85 ERA over 80 innings, giving up 19 home runs with a 1-6 record. And as a result, he went back to AAA, where he made 9 starts with a 3.88 ERA. And just like the year prior, he would be called up in September. He made 4 more starts to lower his ERA, while picking up 15 strikeouts to bring his K per 9 to 7, which would be a career low. And the following year would be similar. He made 24 starts with a 4.75 ERA, finishing with a 6-7 record and a 7.7 K per 9. It wasn't a career year, but what happened near the end was notable. On September 9th, he made his first appearance out of the bullpen that year, and the second of his career, pitching 2.1 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts. He came out of the bullpen 4 more times that month, giving up just 1 run in his 4 appearances. And that offseason, an announcement came that changed Gagne's career and had a big impact on the Dodgers, as their closer Jeff Shaw would announce his retirement. And because of this, Eric Gagne was taken out of the rotation, and he was moved to the bullpen. And after 3 scoreless appearances, he got his first save on April 7th against the Rockies. He then went on to convert his first 10 saves in his first 10 opportunities, giving up just 1 run. He did blow a save against the Braves on May 7th, but he only blew 1 more for the entire first half, converting 32 of 34 saves in 45.1 innings with a 1.39 ERA with 62 strikeouts and just 6 walks. This would result in his first All-Star appearance, where he actually gave up a 2-run home run to Alfonso Soriano. In the second half, he wasn't quite as dominant, but still finished with a 1.97 ERA, a 12.5 K per 9, as he would save 52 games, only behind John Smoltz that year, and enough to finish 4th in Cy Young voting and 12th in MVP voting. But of all the saves he converted, the most important one came on August 28th. The day prior, Gagne blew a save against the Diamondbacks, and on the 28th, he threw a scoreless 9 to seal a 1-0 win for the Dodgers, and thus began the streak. The only season where Gagne didn't blow a single save was 2003, and that was arguably the best season a relief pitcher ever had. Gagne appeared in 77 games like he did in 2002, and finished a league-leading 67 games. In all these games, he had a save opportunity in 55, and of course, he converted every single one of them, making him the first ever have multiple 50-plus save seasons. And what's interesting is that he appeared in the exact same number of games as the year prior, and pitched the exact same number of innings. And while he was dominant the year prior, he was somehow even more in 2003. He gave up 18 less hits at 37, only gave up 2 home runs, had an insane .692 whip, won the lowest FIP in history at .86, while giving up just 11 earned runs, to finish with a 1.2 ERA. And on top of that, he struck out 137 batters to finish with a 15 K per 9, breaking Billy Wagner's record he set in 1999. And that same year in 2003, Billy Wagner threw more innings than him and had an ERA that wasn't too far behind. But looking at the hits given up and the strikeouts and the ERA+, it's easy to see why even the best in the game could not compare. And that massive gap between top relievers went a long way in Eric Gagne becoming the 9th reliever to win the Cy Young, and the most recent. And in comparing the Cy Young season amongst relievers, the difference between almost all of them and Gagne is that Gagne was a modern 1-inning reliever. For example, Mike Marshall was the first relief pitcher to win the Cy Young in '74, and he threw 208 innings while appearing in 106 games. A good comparison is the most recent Cy Young reliever before Gagne, and that was Dennis Eckersley in 1992, who also won the MVP that year. Eckersley is often known as the first modern one-inning closer, and in his Cy Young MVP year, he threw 2 less innings, and Gagne ended up with a better ERA+, 25 less hits allowed, and 44 more strikeouts. In the 55 save opportunities he had in 2003, he pitched 57 innings and had a .32 ERA, giving up just 2 runs while striking out 98 batters. He also had just a 1-run lead in 23 of these games, adding 6.6% to the Dodgers' win probability throughout the year. So at the time, even those anti-relievers winning the Cy Young didn't have a ton of problem with Gagne taking the award. And to follow up one of the greatest pitch seasons in history, he had another All-Star season in 2004 that earned him Cy Young and MVP votes and his second straight Relief Man of the Year. And what's wild is he pitched the exact same number of innings he had the following 2 years, and he finished with the same number of strikeouts he had in 2002. One of the many numbers he had that are similar to the year that helped him finish one position higher in MVP voting. But the most memorable game for the year 2004 for Gagne was July 5th, as that was the day the save streak finally came to an end. And funny enough, it was against the same team the streak started against, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had converted 84 straight save opportunities prior to this, an entire 678 days between blown saves. And during the streak, in those save opportunities, he pitched 89 innings with a .81 ERA while striking out 139 batters and giving up just 1 home run. Funny enough, it was against Barry Bonds on April 16, 2004. Bonds hitting a 2-run home run, but Gagne would still lock down the save. And with this streak, I think it goes down as one of the most unbreakable records in baseball, up there with the hit streak of Joe DiMaggio. And while that may sound far-fetched, just consider that the second longest consecutive save streak was 60, completed by Zach Britton from October 2015 to August 2017. And the second longest hitting streak was Pete Rose's 44-game hit streak in 1978. Obviously that doesn't tell the full story, and the streaks are obviously hard to compare. But if this record lasts for decades without much competition like DiMaggio's, then it will only continue to gain credibility. In the year following the streak, Gagne unfortunately dealt with a problem that hindered his career earlier, and that's injury. He dealt with a number of injuries to start 2005, including spraining a ligament in his knee during spring training. As a result, he didn't make his first appearance until May 14th, where he would give up 2 home runs. But after this, he would settle down, giving up just 2 home runs over the next 13 appearances, as he converted 8 saves and 8 opportunities. But on June 21st, it was announced that Gagne would miss the rest of the 2005 season, as for the second time in his career, he needed Tommy John. Recovery would last for over a year, and coming back from a second Tommy John, especially in this time, was rare. But during surgery, surgeons were able to repair his right elbow with a less invasive procedure. It still sidelined him for the remainder of 2005, but it wasn't as impactful as thought. However, in spring training 2006, he experienced more elbow problems, causing him to undergo a second surgery. He didn't make an appearance until June 3rd, but after another appearance, the pain would return. And a few weeks after, he experienced back pain that was revealed to be 2 herniated discs, requiring surgery that sidelined him for the rest of the year. The Dodgers did not extend his contract, and he would then sign with the Rangers. He dealt with a few injuries with the Rangers, but he was still able to post a 2.16 ERA in 33.1 innings, converting 16 to 17 save opportunities. And at the trade deadline, he would be traded to the Red Sox, expected to be Jonathan Papelbon's setup man, but he would struggle during his time in Boston, finishing with a 6.75 ERA in 18 innings while blowing 3 saves. He did pitch better at the end and was added to the playoff roster, often pitching in low-leverage situations. And his 5 appearances were enough to earn him a ring, as the Red Sox went on to win the World Series. And while he was celebrating winning a World Series, unfortunate news came in December of that year, as Gagne's name was seen in the Mitchell Report. Initial report said he received the drugs from Paul LaDuca, but it was later found that Kirk Radomski received payments from Gagne based on FedEx receipts. And Gagne did not meet with Senator George Mitchell to discuss the charges. He would not address the usage until 2009, where he said he had deep regrets, saying, "I'm not looking for sympathy anyway. I had to live with this for the rest of my life. I'm going to have to explain this to my kids, and it's going to be on my resume for the rest of my life." Gagne would later add in a 2010 interview that he took HGH to recover from a knee injury, which looked to be sustained in 2004. And after being listed on the Mitchell Report, he would sign with the Brewers, where he had the worst year of his career. He was removed from the closer role in May after blowing 3 saves in 6 attempts. He would regain the job, but he lost it again after more struggle. He finished the year with a 5.44 ERA in 46.1 innings, striking out 38, while converting 10 saves in 17 opportunities. Gagne did sign a minor league deal with the Brewers in the offseason, but he was let go in spring training in part due to a shoulder injury. And after making an appearance in Game 4 of the 2008 NLDS, Gagne never pitched in the majors again. He did play for an independent team in Quebec, and he did sign a minor league contract with the Dodgers in 2010, but he was granted release in April, where he would announce his retirement. His career is the very definition of a roller coaster, one that started off disappointing, then reached heights few ever had. Gagne moving to the bullpen after not having much success as a starter is not unique. This is how other dominant closers in the time of Billy Wagner and Mariano Rivera would end up. But for many who went down that route, they continued to struggle in the bullpen. But not for Gagne, and perhaps his experience as a starter for years helped him. Many closers have that one pitch that they owe their success to, such as Mariano's cutter, Trevor Hoffman's changeup, or Billy Wagner's triple-digit fastball that many relievers today possess. But Gagne was able to effectively use a mix of his pitches. He threw in the mid to upper 90s and had what was called a Bugs Bunny curveball to go with his Vulcan changeup. Gagne mixes pitches perfectly, and more important, he threw strikes. 18.5% of Gagne's total pitches were swinging strikes, and only 73.4% of his pitches inside the strike zone were contacted. Both of those records amongst pitchers since 2002. And going back to his use of HGH, the PD debates are mainly amongst hitters, and pitchers are not often brought up. And part of that is there aren't a ton of great pitchers who took PEDs. Gagne is one of the few great ones, and in the pitcher sense, we can again bring up that pitchers still had to hit their spots, throw the right pitch at the right time, and understand situations. And in Gagne's case, the receipts of his payments to Radomski were made in 2004, at the end of his streak, and at the end of his peak. Along with the fact that they were supposedly used to recover from an injury, it's hard to say that Gagne's streak and his peak stats are completely tainted. And no matter the accusations, going back to his streak, I think it doesn't get the respect it deserves. When thinking about Joe DiMaggio's hit streak, it's crazy to think there wasn't one day where DiMaggio was just off or had a bad break, which is why no one before or since has even touched the record. And the same is true with Gagne. Even the greatest closer will have an off day, where they can't locate, or they don't have a feel for the pitches. To do that for 84 straight high-leverage situations really speaks how dominant Gagne was, and the strong mental ability he had to not be phased in these situations, even when 40 of these 84 save opportunities were in one-run games. So Eric Gagne from 2002 to 2004 had arguably the greatest stretch of relievers ever had, pure dominance stemming from effective location and selection. It was absolutely true that it was game over when he came in. In a season like he had in 2003, resulting in a Cy Young, may never happen again for a relief pitcher, considering the opinions of voters, and how season awards depend a lot on the competition. So peak Eric Gagne will go down as one of the best of all time. And though his career came to an unfortunate end, his biggest accomplishment after the streak is striking out Pablo Sanchez in backyard baseball.